are looking at Orlando City. 2023, a successful season for them. They finished second in the Eastern Conference, made it to the conference semis, only to lose to the eventual champions in the Columbus Crew. They lost in Concacaf Champions League, now Concacaf Champions Cup. Let us remind everybody, in the round of 16. And their top goal scorer, Duncan McGuire, who we just talked about, on his way to the championship, just signing with Blackburn Rovers. Charlie, for me, this Orlando team, they were kind of, I call them the sneaky good team. I didn't really, they were sneaky good. They sort of, all of a sudden, towards the end of the season, I would say the final third of the season, you looked at the standings and the way they just continued to creep up the table, and you start thinking, you know, how did they get to that point? What do you think that they did well, specifically kind of towards the second half of the season, and the emergence of a guy like Duncan McGuire, who suddenly started scoring all kinds of goals?
I think defensively, the structure, they were very difficult to break down. So they weren't leaking goals. I think in the counter with Angulo, I thought he was phenomenal for them. Just sometimes missing that finished product, which we've seen a number of wingers in MLS, like get down the line, beat people 1v1, but then lack that goal or lack that final pass. So that's where he can improve, but he's so dynamic. In the midfield, I think Araujo really cemented protecting the back four, making sure he put out fires. He was almost like a nuisance too at times when you look at the matchups versus Inter Miami, causing some problems, kicking Messi. You know, I like that from him. He plays with that grit. And so I think defensively they've always been strong. They lose Mauricio Pereira, who was a workhorse, both sides of the ball, more subtle, keeping possession, not really going to get you the goals and assists. But in terms of an impact player, he was important for them. So they lose him, but they brought in Nico Lodeiro.
How much of an upgrade is that?
I think what you get with Nico is more of the final ball. He played that killer ball, the possession in the attacking third. Nico Lodeiro is a killer. When he's fit, he's a difference maker because he controls the tempo in the attack. But what you lose with Nico Lodeiro is the defensive work rate, getting back, tracking back, putting out fires, that anticipation. So
he's also 34 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, but Pereira was 33.
I know.
But
I want to. The thing that stands out to me when I'm looking at this is all the experience.
Yeah.
This guy has won almost everything. He's won MLS Cup twice. He won Concacaf Champions League. He's won Copa America. He's literally won at every level. And I feel like for an Orlando side, like that experience, that winning mentality, like that's invaluable.
Mauricio Pereira was 33 years old. But he was known for his work rate. He wasn't known for his experience of winning titles. And you relied on him because you knew what you got from him on both sides of the ball. Primarily defensive recoveries and then keeping possession, swinging it side to side. Nico Lodeiro, he's 34. He's not going to be working back. So you have now a real number 10. And I think that's what they were missing in terms of someone supplying a striker, supplying the wingers with those killer balls, but now they're losing.
Okay, so that was my question. So who's scoring the goals then? Because we lose Duncan McGuire, who was their leading goal scorer for this season. Earlier, last season in the fall, they got rid of
Ercan
Cara,
who wasn't living up to expectations.
So who's the number 9? Who is getting that service?
There's a big question mark with that because Duncan McGuire was a player that we were talking about. Does he stay? Because he just got hot. He just got hot. This was a striker that you can finally say, all right, for the future we can rely on him because we know we're going to get goals. He figured it out, how to have success in MLS, how to play off the center back's back shoulders, making the right runs, and then knowing when to strike with his finishes. For me right now, I think that's the uncertainty because if you lose him so late in the window, this wasn't 2 months ago where you could say, okay, we have ample time to figure out who the next player is.
So when does the MLS window? I feel like it's open for a couple more weeks.
Yes, but internationally, most players are set. Unless you're a free agent and you're without a club, or
but you can buy
Let's get the full list of free agents.
Yeah, but a lot of clubs at this stage
have the roster, but if you throw in an offer.
Yeah, but again,
do you think that they were preparing for the season without Duncan McGuire?
I don't think so.
No.
No. Some offers came in that are attractive.
Because his name, even at the end of last season, his name had been floated around, that there was interest. And so I'm just wondering if Oscar Pareja was sort of anticipating that he would.
Why would you loan him? I feel like
they did that with Daryl Dike too, though, because
give me an option to buy. Put an option to buy on that. I don't know if there's an option to buy.
I think there is an option.
Okay.
To buy. It's not a mandatory buy option, which we've seen in some cases.
Yeah, trigger clauses are a killer.
I think what we saw with Daryl Dike, he got loaned over. He absolutely killed it. Yeah. And guess what? His value went from this to this. So as an investment, this is a kid from college. Daryl Dike, college free. To selling for millions.
But he was also just absolutely phenomenal college baller too. I don't know.
Okay.
I just feel like the risk reward.
Christine.
I know.
Let's look
the
at
risk reward is.
Let's look at Orlando
cares
City's
about college
projected
football?
11, and then Charlie, when you look at this, they finished second in the East. They lost to the MLS Cup champions in the conference semis. They lose to Columbus Crew. But as we talked about earlier this week, many teams in the East have also gotten stronger.
Yes.
Is Orlando City, with what we're seeing right here, this projected 11, are they a contender?
They will be competitive. I think they need another center back. They lose Antonio Carlos last season, and Schlegel came in. Schlegel's, for me, a squad player, more of a rotation, not someone you rely on as a starting center back alongside Robin Janssen. So you're looking at those two. A pace is an issue. The speed of your center backs. Galese is incredible. He's a top goalkeeper in Major League Soccer. He's consistent, strong midfield with Cartagena and Araujo. Facundo Torres, one of the better top playmakers in Major League Soccer. Angulo on the other side, Lodeiro. I love that midfield, strong. And
that's a very good midfield.
And Enrique, the jury's out. It's unproven.
100%.
But this is a competitive team, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. Like, just say there's question marks, and you can fill that striker position from Lodeiro down.
It's very
paper,
strong.
It looks like a really good team that can compete against anybody in the league. And then, I mean, I feel like MLS, you build a team to compete, and then you see where that goes in playoffs. Especially if you have a season that is strong, like they had last season. So,
and then throw in the fact that Oscar Pareja is the manager, incredible manager, understands the game. I think he's very candid on the way he talks about his team in the media. He's a manager you want to play for in Major League Soccer.
That was a real get for them.
Yeah.
I think that was, when we talked about it, that was probably their biggest offseason signing, was re-signing Oscar Pareja, because there was a chance that he would leave, and there was apparently some interest elsewhere for his services. So
he knows
that was big.
He knows the game.
Big.
He knows the game. He's a respected manager. He gives his team an identity. I think Orlando are in a good place.
One to watch in the Eastern Conference. It all kicks off February 21st.